Joining. We are coding Welephant, a white elephant app. White elephant is like a gift giving type of thing, and so the idea is that you get some kind of like cheap, affordable gifts, and you meet with your friends and you anonymously exchange gifts. Or I don't know if anonymous is the right word, but you don't know ahead of time who is getting who a gift, and then you unveil the gift, and then later you find out like, oh, it came from them. It's not like forever anonymous. It's like anonymous at first. Anyway, I'm not aware of like a good online app to do this, so we're gonna build one. My mom requested this, so this is shout out to Cheryl Vanderveer, Mama. And the way it's gonna work is you will create a wish list, but it won't be like an Amazon wish list, right? Bed Bath & Beyond wish list. It's going to be a wish list across all of these. So you can actually just use this application as a wish list app if you want. Then you will optionally be able to have a party. And a party is an event that takes place at a particular time. And every like people who have created wish lists get pulled into the party, and they are randomly assigned each other. And they get to look at each other's wish list. So you see the value there. So that's the concept, so let's dive in. This is going to be totally from scratch. If you want to support me, if you want to support the channel, this is brought to you by codinglife-store.myshopify.com. I'll update the URL soon. It'll probably end up being like shop.latterly.io. But this is it for now. I designed these myself. You can see I'm wearing the iCode and Caffeinate hat right there. So brought to you by that. So we're going completely from scratch. If you're on TikTok, by the way, you can visit Twitch or YouTube and see the whole screen. So we're on GitHub, and we're going to create a fresh new repository. We're going to make this open source. This is going to be called Welephant. Welephant. In the description is a white elephant wish list party tool. Public, add readme please. We're going to build this in TypeScript, so we will look for the node gitignore. Open source, MIT license, all the way. Support open source for show. Create repository. So the repository is ready. You can check it out yourself right here, Welephant. Not much there yet, but let's get going. We will bring it into the VS Code workspace, collapse some of these other projects that I don't need to deal with right now. I'll leave those two expanded because I should get to those soon. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is click the green code button, copy that, Control-C. I'm on a Windows machine, so copy to the clipboard. We can see that we are currently using Git Bash, and we're located in the Kahneman subfolder of the GitHub workspace. That's a different project. So let's right-click, close all these files that have to do with a different project called Kahneman. We'll cd up a level. So now we're in the GitHub workspace, and we will git clone Welephant. What you having, sir? So we are building a wish listing application called Welephant, used for white elephants. It's like, that's where it gets the name inspiration from. Like a party tool for sharing creating and sharing wish lists. Great, so let's right click and add. I'll go over to the file tab. Collapse these other folders that I'm not dealing with currently. So we're in a multi-root VS Code workspace. Now I've got some space here. I'll right click, add folder to workspace. Okay. And we will go to Welephant, www. Should be alphabetical order, right? Click that and add. Now we can see Welephant was added. So here's the README, white elephant wish list and party tool. Create a wish list using a wish list across websites and share that with and share that with others at a white elephant party or other event. Maybe even a wedding. So you could use this as like a registry, like a wedding registry tool. Next.js, yeah, we're going to use Blitz, which is on top of Next. So who's our friend here? General Loki. Hey, great to see you. Yeah, our friend General Loki is predicting the future. By the way, if you are on TikTok, I see we have 50 people. Thanks for joining. You can go over to YouTube or Twitch and see the whole screen. Thank you very much for the likes. SJS, STS, TypeScript, but it will be similar. You will be able to understand it. Okay, before we create this project, let's update to the latest Blitz framework version. I thought I had the GitHub tab open, but I guess not. Close Netlify, close this thing, Investopedia, not needed right now. Move this stuff over. Get all those GitHub tabs together. Okay, budget tool, these are my other projects. By the way, follow the channel and you'll see me working on like all these different projects. I build real tools that are actually useful. Or I build them halfway and then they just sit there in my GitHub incomplete. So I don't have the tab open, so we'll grab a new tab and this will be GitHub Blitz. I can see it's in my history, so I'll just arrow through the history. See you at Twitch. All right, great. See you there. What is this for? It's for parties, for sharing wish lists with others attending a party. So there's something we do. Maybe this is a United States thing. I don't know. It's called a white elephant party. White elephant gift exchange, I guess. Let's go over to Wikipedia. A white elephant gift exchange or a Yankee swap. I've never heard it called that. Is the stream going to be saved on YouTube? Yes, it will. So it's a party game where amusing and impractical gifts are exchanged during festivities. I don't believe that's a hard and fast rule. I'm personally partial to exchanging useful gifts, but they are typically like of small dollar value. An extravagant, impractical gift that cannot be easily disposed of. Okay. So I guess let's just like say any sort of gift because you get all these different adjectives around what sort of gifts. Is it extravagant? Is it cheap? Like, where's the previous thing? A different search result said that it was supposed to be cheap, right? Whose cost is out of proportion to its usefulness. Okay, no, I guess they're supposed to be expensive. Why did maybe I misread something. Cool, well, my friends and I have been rather cheap, it turns out. Anyway, so you can check this out for more background. Basically, you get gifts for each other. And you don't tell ahead of time who is getting the gift for who. So it's a bit of a surprise. My insight here is that I'd like to be able to share wish lists because I want to get you a gift that you actually want. And this happens frequently. If you have a white elephant party, people will be gossiping with one another because you can't speak directly to the person that you're assigned. So one obstacle is how do we even assign each other without the other finding out that we're assigned to them? And then how do we get them a gift that they're actually going to appreciate? Again, without them knowing that I'm the one getting them a gift. And so what ends up happening is you do these like chains of gossip where I talk to Sammy and Sammy talks to Joe because I'm supposed to get a gift for Joe, but I can't talk directly to Joe and be like, hey, what gift do you want? Because that would give away the white elephant surprise. It's supposed to be a surprise. So to get around this problem, we're going to build a tool where everyone builds wish lists of the things that they want. And then the tool will randomly assign each other, and I will be able to directly look at Joe's wish list, but he doesn't know that I'm looking at it. That's what we're actually building. I hope this makes sense. Let me grab the Wikipedia, and I'll link it in my README. A white elephant gift exchange wish list and party tool. Okay. Let's right click and preview this markdown file and make sure that the link works. Yep. Okay, great. Okay, so we are here at Blitz. Let's go to the releases. Alpha 63 was released just yesterday using React Query v4. Fantastic. So let's try this out. I want to yarn global remove Blitz because I have a previous installation of Blitz. We're going to remove the previous installation and add a new one. Bum, bim, boom. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so that succeeded. Let's now install at this version. So we're going to yarn global add Blitz at this version. We need to specify the version because it's an alpha. So alphas are not from a NPM node package management perspective, alphas are not preferred. So if I just did yarn global add Blitz, it would not pick the alpha, the 2.x alpha, it would pick the 1.x stable release. Okay, so we now have, and then we can check the Blitz version. I should see ending in .63. Globally installed, brilliant. Okay, so now we would like to Blitz. Oh, I need to CD into the Welephant folder. We would like to Blitz new Welephant. This information is all available on the Blitz docs. I just happen to know it already because I've been using Blitz for quite a while. Feel free to ask if you want to know like why I picked the various things, but basically we're using TypeScript. And we are going to use React hook form, which is the most popular form solution out of the options given. It's the most popular one. Fill-in is fill-in. Thank you for the follow. Unoya, thank you for the follow. All right, if you are on, could you explain me a bit what Blitz is? Blitz is a full stack framework on top of React.js. So it helps you build websites extremely quickly. If you have ever seen Rails or Laravel, it is a new, shiny, better version of that built for the TypeScript ecosystem. So it will enable you to create applications very, very fast. I can say, for example, I would like to create, one of the things that we're going to create is like a party or an event. Maybe we'll call it an event. So I'll create a database entity, which is an event, and Blitz for me will create from that entity, it will create all of my TypeScript types, and it will create a full CRUD experience, create, read, update, and delete. It will have UI pages for all of those. It will have back-end services for all of those, and it will connect the front end to the back end, just like that. Well, I don't use TS, only JS. That's totally fine. You can use Blitz with JavaScript. I just prefer not to. And you may already know this, but TypeScript is the same as JavaScript. So all valid JavaScript is also valid TypeScript. The difference is that TypeScript adds types on top, but the language itself, if you can read JavaScript, you can totally read TypeScript. Ishmael, thank you for the follow. Ibrahim, thank you for the follow. It's almost the same. It is TS is more auto-completion. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about it. Holograms, thank you for the follow. All right, it looks like we're ready to get started. Let's first of all just cd Welephant follow the instructions it gives, right? cd welephant blitz dev. This is just sanity checking that the application was installed properly. Visit localhost. This might take a minute to load. It's loading Webpack dev server. Python, no, this will be TypeScript or JavaScript. Yep, thank you for helping out in the chat there. And the web page loads right up, right? So this is like your default boilerplate, and you can see it's telling you how to create a new entity right here. Oh, wow, confetti, that's awesome. That's so fun. What's the backend running in? It's running in Node, N-O-D-E, Node.js. If you're on TikTok, you can see the full screen by going over to Twitch or YouTube. Search my same username, John Vanderveer. Can you have more tabs? Hey, I got to prove that I'm a software engineer. Actually, I could do a lot more tabs, believe me. Earlier in the stream, I closed some tabs. Okay, so we proved that it works. I'm going to stop the server, and I'm going to relocate some files, because you see what I don't like is having a subfolder called Welephant inside of the top level folder called Welephant. I want it to be all at one level. Okay. So this README that I created, we will prepend that to the Blitz auto-generated README. I'll add built with blitz.js. Okay. Then I will move that README up a level, replace the prior one. The git ignore, we will also override my default with the one Blitz provides. Finally, I will grab all of this stuff from .husky all the way down to the yarn lock file, and I will bring it all up a level. You use live server. I use Blitz development server, which is a Webpack dev server. Otto the Scar, thank you for the follow. It's not me, Lucifer. Hilarious username. Thank you for the follow, Abnerlon. Great to see y'all here. Try console.log react meta.data. Okay, sure, why not? I think that's fine. So let's go over here. I'll do this commit. So this will be chore, move blitz install up. Move blitz install up. Stage those files. And now I will git commit. Oh, let me put it on the command line instead of using the VS Code way. And I will -- no verify, because I believe we're going to fail Husky hooks out of the box. Okay, I'm in a folder that doesn't exist. CD up a level. Let me verify that the Welephant subfolder was correctly deleted. David Oyamo, thank you very much. So cool, first time seeing a coding live. Hey, I do them a lot, so follow the page. I do these at least weekly, sometimes a few times a week. Yeah, there's no folder called Welephant, so we were able to delete it. Commit that. No verifies to skip the Husky test. We'll do it again here. And that's because, as I said, I think we're going to fail that out of the box. I created a GitHub issue for that on a previous stream. I prefer coding in anything but Windows. Yeah, me too. This is just my gaming PC, so I don't like to do my streams on my work computer, so that's the reason. And I don't have a third computer. Okay, so pushed all that, right? The next step is we would like to create users and parties, but users already exist. Okay, Blitz gives you users out of the box. Let's go look at the database schema file. So this comes with Blitz. Blitz sets up your database for you in SQLite. We're going to start by using SQLite. We're going to move over to Postgres before the end of the stream. Python, no, this is TypeScript. We do not use VirtualBox, no. What's the purpose of no verify? It is to skip Husky hooks. So Husky hooks is something that Blitz sets up for you. You can see the definition right here. There's a pre-commit and a pre-push. And basically it runs my tests. So if you're going to commit and push code, it's going to automatically run your unit tests before it allows you. The problem is, I believe that in the current alpha version of Blitz, your unit test will fail with a fresh application. So that's like a problem with Blitz, so I'm just skipping the unit test for now. Great question. Okay, so here's the schema that we get for free. We can see that we have users. What I would like to do is create wish lists and parties. And then a wish list should have, I don't know, wish list items, wish list entries. Which language is this? So we're going to be doing this in TypeScript. What we're looking at in front of us is a database DSL, domain-specific language for Prisma. So this is not a programming language. This is a database modeling language, but it's still really cool. Okay, so to get started, let's go over to the Blitz docs. I can also just restart the server because it gives us an example one. Gives us an example one. I'll just go right here. It gives us an example one on screen. So we can see Blitz generate all project name string. All means generate the types and the database tables and the UI pages and the queries and connect the queries, all that. So we're going to generate something else. That's just an example, but I wanted that example string there. Oh, when I copied and pasted, I guess it included a carriage return, so it automatically initialized that, which I did not want. So let's revert that. I will paste this into the URL and then recopy it, and that should drop the carriage return. All right, so now I can paste it, and it doesn't automatically enter. Cool. So we would like to create something called a wish list. Well, and then the question is, what goes on a wish list? So we need to actually create the lower level entity first. So we would like to create a wish list item. And this is interesting because do I use a dash or an underscore wish list item? I'm going to do title case. I don't think we have any like multiple word things over here. Oh, there's token type. So see, token type is a title case, so I'm going to follow that convention for my database entity. So we're going to do a wish list, wish list item. We're going to call it a wish list item. So first of all, it's going to get a title. Is it string title or title string? So you do the property name colon data type, okay? So property name colon data type. So we'll have a name, string. We'll give it a description, string. And it's going to belong to a user. I'll do user. This might break, but we can always repair it. Okay, so what this does, which coding language? We're doing this in TypeScript, although you don't see that on the screen right now because you see the schema for Prisma, which is a domain-specific language. So do we want a wish list item to be associated with a user, or do we only want to associate it with a wish list, and then the wish list is associated with the user? I think there will be a wish list item details page, but I don't know if we will need to include user data on that page. So I think it's pretty much unnecessary. Pretty much unnecessary to do that. So we'll just have these items, and it has a name and a description and a URL. I want it to have a URL. Let me do a question mark and see if that'll make an optional string. So the idea is that I go around the internet and I have all these links, and I can put those into my wish list. I think this is good enough. There's all sorts of other things we could put on here, but I don't think that's ideal. So like we could store the price here. And then do we want to store whether it's assigned or not? Yeah, so there we might want to do something like someone can call dibs basically if like two people are buying presents for one person. I think I might be overcomplicating this, but a planned buyer, we can have a planned yeah, let's just have a buyer. A buyer is a user. Basically, like, yeah, and then it is bought is a Boolean. We can do a purchased date. Purchased date. Purchase date could be useful in case of like someone needs to do a return or something, or they're trying to look up the transaction. Purchase date. So let's call it a purchaser and a purchase date. Purchaser. Is that a word? Let me double check that's a word. Purchaser. Came in late. Which language is this? We're using TypeScript. Okay, it's a word. Hey, by the way, if you're on TikTok, you can see the full screen if you go over to YouTube or Twitch. So we have purchaser as a user, and then a purchase date, or a purchase time, or purchased at. That's idiomatic. So you see expires at, created at, updated at. These are called idioms, which is like conventions or normal ways that we do things. So we can see this is a date time. So I'll have purchased at, and I'll give that a date time data type. Cool, so let's generate it. Bam. And look at all the stuff Blitz made. It made a TSX details page, an edit page, an index page, which is going to get the list of wish list items. And now I'm immediately thinking that this page that shows all the items should say like who is wishing for it. So so here's the purchaser, and let's say wished by. Wish list item. So there's a purchaser and a wisher. So that we can just manually update it, no big. You see it created this DSL for us. So I'm going to create a wisher, and then VS Code is complaining because I need to update the existing user definition. Because basically wish list item is saying like, hey, users have me. But then user is like, no, I don't. So I need to fix that. Basically, what are you building? A wish list app. So I'll control click this, it'll hop over there. We'll say wished lists, wish list items. I want to camel case these in this case. So we'll have wish list items, purchased items, purchased items. That's pretty much all we need, right? Yeah. Cool. So we got wish list items, and purchased items. And so wish lists are not ready yet, so we'll do that in a moment. Wish list items. The type will be an array of wish list items. which we signify like this. Purchased items will also be an array of wishlist items. Now, the schema is telling us, whoa, you're mapping the wishlist items in two ways. It's an ambiguous relation. You see that? Thank you for the follow and for the rose, Robot. Excalibur, thanks for the follow. Glad to see all of y'all here. If you're on TikTok, you can visit YouTube or Twitch, search my same username, and you'll be able to see the whole screen. So we need to disambiguate the relation. And it kind of tells us how to do this, but I'm going to Control-Shift-F and look for a different project where I've done this. So that I can get some reference code, basically. So assign tasks. This is a really great example. This is a proprietary project that I've done called Désolé, so I'm not going to go into what that code is doing, but it gives us disambiguated relations that we need. You can see specifically the task thing is here. So there's like a task management component of this app called Désolé, and a user is assigned some tasks and creates other tasks. They're not necessarily the same tasks. Kind of like Jira, if you've used Jira. Looks like he's making a database schema with Prisma. You got it exactly correct. Shout out to Diori. Oh, I don't know how to say that, sorry. Diori Ubzu. Great, that's completely correct. Just another day, Aldrin and Emerald. Thanks for the follows. Okay, so in the same way, really we just need this relation annotation. So I'm going to put that there. And then that will disambiguate it. I think I need to put it on the other side too. Yeah. Right, so here's the other side. Here's the other side. Array of tasks, user, question mark. And there might not be a purchaser at all, so that's a question mark. But the wisher is required. If there's no wisher, there shouldn't be a wish list item, right? So the purchaser and the purchased at are optional or nullable. It's Dio loves you. That makes sense. I got tripped up because there's like another I. Okay, cool. Description will be optional. Is the URL optional? I guess the URL is optional, but it's going to confuse people as like optional but strongly recommended. But that's more like a user coaching kind of thing. The name is absolutely required. Name is absolutely required, and the wisher is required. Great. This is looking really good. Now I need to update. So you see, this is the relation name. So you have a disambiguated relation. I want to change this relation name. This is going to be wish list items. This is going to be, so a user has user, let's say wished items. User wished items and user purchased items. You see how they're both talking about these wish list items, but now we're doing it in an unambiguous way. Like which is which? We're gonna have these two different arrays. Okay, so here is the user wished items, and it's going to reference a user using what field? Using the assigned user ID. We're going to call that the user ID wisher. Oh, I got this really goofed up. Let me move that down. If you caught that, you're a smart one. So this is the wisher. User ID wisher references to a user ID, and then this will be the user ID purchaser. So this is the user ID, user purchased items. The argument field must refer only to existing fields. The following fields do not exist in the model: user ID, purchaser. Okay, correct. So I need to add a couple new fields. So we have the purchaser, which is a user object, and then we have the user ID purchaser, which is an int. And similarly, this is also an int. So it's saying you have to actually refer to a defined field. So we'll define those fields. Which language is this? This is a domain-specific language for Prisma. It's a DSL, but we are going to transpile it into TypeScript soonish. Okay, so I think, and then I save it and it does some formatting, cool. I think this is good. We'll find out when the app crashes or not. That's the way it goes, isn't it? Run Prisma migrate dev to update your database. Let's go ahead and do that. Enter name for the new migration. We'll call this init-wishlist items. Okay. Now we're going to want to create a wish list. So this is a wish list entity. The wish list will have a name, which is a string, and then it will have many wish list items. I just call them items. And that is a collection of wish list items. And that's technically optional. It might not have any items when it's first created, right? Oh no, I did it bad. Sorry. Boom. A type cannot be both optional and a list. Oh, why? It can't be optional and a list? It can't be optional and a list. Okay, fine. Not really sure why, but so it says. So we will make it not optional. There will at least be an empty array, so it will never be null. I guess that's a Blitz convention. Cool. And so it created the new model here, and you can see again, it's kind of pissed. It's like, okay, a wish list knows that it has wish list items. So a wish list knows that it has wish list items, but the wish list item doesn't know that it belongs to a list. So we need to fix that. And I had to change a capitalization there, so that I might have to go fix that in the code later. We'll see. So I can just control save, which runs the formatter. If I control Z, you can see it says either run Prisma format or add it manually. When I control S, it runs the formatter automatically. And you can see wish list was added here along with the wish list ID. Okay, and then wish list is optional. It's not optional. It's not optional. You have to have a wish list if you exist at all. Okay, this is looking good. And then there will also be a wisher. So the wish list item has a wisher, and the wish list has a wisher, and they should always be in sync, right? And so that could be redundant, but let's make a note here. Item wisher should always be in sync with wish list wisher. Yeah, I mean, LGTM. So with User ID wisher. That makes sense. Okay, so we give it a user ID wisher right here. So this is not user wished items. This is user wished list. And now it's like, whoa, users don't know that they have these lists. And do I want multiple lists or just one wish list? At the moment, I'm going to do sort of one master wish list. So it will be user wished list, not user wished lists. I'm going to Control S. That should have updated the user model. Let's go check. So here's wish list, which seems to be an array. I'm going to change that to be just I want it to be just one object. What's going on there? Wished list on model user and wisher on model wish list both provide the references. You have to provide it in only one. Okay. Wish list ID. I'm okay with that. So the user has a wish list ID. Yeah, totally, right? So what is the issue? So a user has a wish list. Oh, it just doesn't want it in two places. So a user has something called a wish list ID, and this is going to be called the ID on the wish list entity. So this is redundant, basically. Now it thinks that a wish list has an array of users. No, a wish list should only have one user, which is the wisher. User wished list relation. All right, so what's the complaint now? The relation field wisher on model wish list is required. This is no longer valid because it's not possible to enforce this constraint on the database level. Ooh. All right, so it's saying, hey, I know what you're trying to do, but I can't enforce that in the database. Is this for describing a database? I haven't heard of Prisma before. Yes, it is. Great question. 2.5 thousand likes. Thank y'all so much. Y'all rock. By the way, over 300 viewers on TikTok now. If you go over to Twitch or YouTube, search my same username, and you will be able to see the entire screen. Python, no, this is TypeScript. Oh, Lesla, what's up? Lesla, I think it's an ORM for Node. That's correct. Can you show your extensions? All right, I'll do that for about 10 seconds, but I don't want to get derailed here. Copy Linux like path, Docker, ESLint, GitHub pull request, GitLins, big shout out to GitLins. I have Jupyter notebooks and LaTeX. Prettier, for sure, we need Prettier. Prisma. We've already seen the Prisma extension helping us with the auto format. Tab 9. TSLint and TypeScript Hero. There you go. Okay, so it's saying, hey, I get what you're trying to do, but I can't enforce this at the database level. So let's flip it, right? So what we tried to do is use the field declaration up here, but that's asymmetric with what we did with wishlist items. So here, let's just do it like this. Oh, and it already knew that the wishlist ID should be unique. How cool is that? How cool is that? So two people will never share the same wish list, which is something I think is a good idea, but I didn't actually intentionally implement that. Okay, so we're going to implement this in a symmetric way. Okay. I think we need to do that. And now the user wished list will go on the wish list here. So here's the wisher, okay? Basically back to what we had before. There's the wisher and user ID wisher. The relation field wisher on, okay, it's doing the same thing. It's saying, okay, so either way I define it, it's telling me, like, I know what you're trying to do, but I can't enforce that in the database. Well, I'm glad it's telling me that. Better to find that out now than later. So the relation field wisher on model wish list is required. This is no longer valid because it's not possible to enforce this on the database level. So it wants me to make the user wish list optional. I wonder if I can make the wish list optional and if that will fix the problem. Nope. A one-to-one relation must use unique fields on the defining side, either add a unique attribute to user ID wisher. Okay, so yeah, we can definitely do a unique attribute here because the wisher should be like, if you look at all the table of the wish lists, at the moment, it should be one wish list to one user. And that seemed to pacify it. Now can I make it required? No, I can't. And this does make sense because I'm gonna have to create one of them first. I guess I could create them concurrently, but maybe that's what it's telling me it can't do, is actually create them concurrently. So there will be some period of time where only the user or their wish list exists, not both. Definitely the user should exist first, right? So then if the user is guaranteed to exist and the only question is, has their wish list been created yet? It makes sense to put the optional here. It makes sense to make the wish list optional rather than to make the user optional here. So the user is required here. All right, I think we have finally worked out the data model kinks on this entity. So now I'll go back to the command line and migrate the database. Boom, let's do it. Thank you for all the follows. I can't even keep up at this point. What are you coding? It's called Welephant. It is a white elephant party tool. So let's check the README. A white elephant gift exchange wish list and party tool. You can check Wikipedia if you're not sure what that means. Basically, people get each other presents. It's sort of anonymous ahead of time, but later you find out. But it's a surprise who gets you the present. So this tool will help me understand what other people want me to get them without me directly asking them. It's like an indirect way to communicate that. And it will also randomly assign. Enter a new name for the migration. This is init wishlists. What's your editor? We're using VS Code. Do you code for people? I sure do. Database and schema are in sync, it says. Let's go ahead and commit this. I should have committed once for each migration. So this will be feat init wishlists. And we're going to try out the UI init. Let's spell init correctly. Again, I'm going to bring this over to the command line instead of using the VS Code shortcut because I need to be able to pass no verify because I believe the test will fail at this moment. Can you code a 4x bot? I'm not the guy for that. If you pay me enough money, I'll give it a shot, but that's not my specialty. Git push dash no verify. I mean, I'm down to try if you want to pay me. Check the link in my bio if you want to book a call. Okay, so we can check on GitHub. Here's the open source Welephant repository. Why use ORM instead of plain SQL? There's so many reasons. First of all, when switching between data sources, so currently this is implemented in SQLite. I will soon transition to Postgres. I don't want to have to write, okay, cool. I don't want to have to rewrite database queries that use data source specific syntaxes. So your SQL is different across platforms, right? Like how do I say get me all tables? That's different in SQLite. That's a different SQL expression in SQLite compared to Postgres. Another reason is that Prisma will generate my types, and it will also it's also so much less code. This is under 100 lines of code, or maybe right at. I think it's under if I take out these comments, right? The equivalent SQL here is so much. Let's go look. There's 47 and 14, 47 and 14, and another 40. So 47, 14, so it's like 60. So it's like, oh, actually, I guess it's about the same. Is that right? That's hilarious. So in this case, the lines of code ended up to be about the same. Although if you scroll right, you can see like this line 34 here, I would have definitely broke into multiple lines. So I don't know, constraint foreign key reference on delete. I might have broken that into multiple lines. Maybe going by characters is more correct. 1928 characters, so that's about 2,000 characters. Let's go by characters. There's 650, so 2650, and then 1500, so this is 3650, 4150 versus about 3,000. Yeah, so 4150 versus 3,000. So it's about a 25% savings in characters. Yeah, and it like generates your intersection tables and stuff for you. The developer experience is a lot better. You saw it, like told me like what was and wasn't allowed and why. But really, it's the type integration is a major key here, and also switching data source platforms. So the switch from SQLite to Postgres is so seamless. SQL will always be smaller. It wasn't in this case. Seriously, I don't understand. How can you know all of this? It just takes time. That's it. Please, can you expand your screen? I'm unable to on TikTok, but visit YouTube or Twitch, search my same username, you'll be able to see the whole screen. It was, you counted wrong. Okay, all right, thanks, Creamkey Peacock. Feel free to explain what you mean. Okay, so anyway, here is the GitHub page, F5, and we can see we've pushed all of this code. We've done this just in the past, how long has it been? About 55 minutes we've done all of this. SQL just literally builds the tables in seeds, LOL. So I don't have any seed data yet, but there's no contradiction between what you just said and what I said. We're also adding constraints, right? Unique indices. So it's more than just tables, but it's basically tables. And yet I counted the lines, and the line count was about equal, and the character count was greater. So I'm not really vibing with your explanation there. Why using SQLite? The simplicity of real SQL, or is there a strong reason? So the reason that Blitz ships with a SQLite schema is because it can be done in memory with no database setup. So it's a developer convenience feature. As soon as we ship a productionized application, we are going to switch away from SQLite. So I personally do not use SQLite in production. It's a table definition. There's nothing more efficient than SQL for building a table. So I don't know if you misheard me. I was not talking about efficiency. I was talking about writing it. So concision, the amount of keystrokes it takes the developer, not the efficiency of the database run. Where do I start off if I want to code? So there's a few places. First of all, you can check the link in my bio. I teach people to code. You can also go to Free Code Camp if you want a free option. And Codecademy is my favorite online paid course. And then there's also coding boot camps in university. Nothing wrong with those, right? I mean, look at your screen, line 24, okay? Yes. Cranky Peacock, SQL doesn't have that, your code has it, it's extra. This is a database schema language, a DSL for Prisma. So this compiles into SQL. So here are the migrations that it compiles into. So this is an extremely concise expression, and in raw SQL, that's going to require an intersection table. So we can go find token in one of these migrations. So here's hash session token, anti-CSRF token. Here's the token table, and then there will be some intersection token use. So this is all generated. This is the foreign key relation. So this is generated from this concise expression. So again, I mean, if you want to write in SQL, go for it. But there's multiple reasons to use Prisma, and one of them is an improved and concise developer experience. But there's many others, like it generates the types is another big one, and switching data sources. It abstracts your data source specific language. The YouTube stream seems pretty low quality. It's hard to read on a 4K TV, FYI. That kind of stinks. All right, thanks for letting me know. Thank you for all the follows. I can't even keep up with them. Cool. So these have been some really good questions and really good conversation. Let's get into testing out the app, and let's build a little wish list. Let's make sure it works. There could definitely be some bugs. For one, I'm not sure I actually generated the types. That might be a different command line command that I need to run. So opening up the network tab, refresh the page, we can see that we got a user response. Somebody asked if I got a JSON. Organize a Telegram page for online students. I'm not going to do a Telegram page. I have a Teachable site. So check the link in my TikTok bio. You can go to latterly.io, which forwards you to latterly.teachable.com. I'd love to teach you how to code, either one-on-one or in a group setting. There's a free option, in fact, an open source option. If you want to study on your own, there's two options basically, right? So on the left, this is completely free, and in fact, their curriculum is open source, and contributions are welcome. And then on the right, if you want to consult with me personally, I might create a personalized curriculum for you. We might set you up with a group if you're okay with group-based learning, or I might even recommend a different, not working with me. I might recommend a boot camp or something like that. So please do check these options out. And then if you want to support my channel, another way to do that is to check out my Shopify store. So let me once again plug the Shopify store. You can get to this store through the link in my TikTok bio, but it's also codinglife-store.myshopify.com. In fact, I'm interested in a serious coding studies. Awesome. Glad to hear it. I highly recommend it. I am a self-taught developer. I did not get a computer science degree, and I recommend it to everybody. It's life-changing. Cool. All right, so we've been able to load the project. Let's sign up. I'm going to use john@ladderly.io. Feel free to email me at that location if you'd like. Let's say foobar123 exclamation. And so we signed in, and we can see we've got a JSON now, and here's my user. So we're getting full stack backend responses. The backend response is logged out. Like you see the UI code is changed based on that, so it's integrated into the UI. How long did it take you to learn and land your first job? So it took me about a year to land my first coding job, but I think for most people, they can do it a lot quicker. I was totally self-taught. If you're self-taught, I think that's about how long it's going to take you. But if you do a coding boot camp, or if you work with a mentor, you can probably get done a lot faster. And my main tool was Codecademy, so I still recommend that to this day. If you want to do an online course option, Codecademy is really great. Where is the data stored then? It's currently in memory in a SQLite database. So this command line process has an associated memory space. You can pull it up on the Windows Performance Monitor if you want to. So that's currently where it is. Later, we will be using Postgres, but I'm going to have to break that into a different session because I'm being called to go eat. Do you do this full time? I am a full-time programmer. I work at a company called Upstart. The projects that I work on, we are unfortunately not using Blitz at this time, maybe in the future. But we do a lot of Rails and Python and AWS Cloud Infrastructure, Kubernetes. That's mainly the stack. They're starting to introduce Next, and I'm very happy about this. But I personally don't write much of the Next code. Okay, so we logged in, and what we want to do is create a wish list. Oh, by the way, get current user does not have a wish list property. Okay, I was kind of expecting an empty wish list property. So we go to /wishlist, cannot be found. Let's double check our pages. Okay, so we looked at the database previously, but there are pages, so there should be wish lists. Okay, so that is the reason, yep, that is the reason that wish list was a 404, which means not found resource. So I said wish list singular. I should have looked for the plural wish lists. Do you teach Flutter? Not normally. I would prefer React Native over Flutter in most cases. That being said, if you were like, I want to work with John and I want to learn Flutter, and you want to pay me for the time, I'm happy to work on that with you. I typically do not recommend Flutter. Thank you for the, what is that? Is that a TikTok icon? Thank you for the TikTok icon. How important are data structures and algorithms for interviews? They're extremely important. So I would not say that they are essential. You can start interviewing before you go through your leak code and learn your basic DSNA. But I would start studying them at the same time that I start interviewing, and I would weigh them 1-to-1. Spend 1 hour on applying and social networking and following up with people, and spend another hour doing your leak code. I created a resource for this called 5 to 23 Patterns to Ace Any Coding Interview. So check this out. If you want to learn data structures and algorithms with me personally, check the link in my bio. React Native is the way to go. I'm a big fan of React Native as well. Okay, so we want to create a wish list, so let's create it. Here's a name, John's List. This probably will fail. Actually, I don't know. Let's create it. Yeah, so it failed, and here's the error. We can also see it got logged over here. The error is that there is no defined wisher. And that's totally fine. So we need to go write some code. Let's actually do some code. So this is the wishlist/new, and it came by default with the name field, but my database says you need to have a wisher. In my form, you can see there's nowhere to put who is the wisher, and that's just the logged in user. So that's a bit of custom code that we're gonna have to write now. So let's go wishlist new. So here's the new wishlist page. This was all created for us. Here's the wishlist form. We can see it's used right here. Promises must be awaited to end with a catch. So I'm not really sure what that's complaining about. I'm going to start off by just saving. That's to run the formatter. So you can see a bit of formatting was done. And then authentication. This comes out of the box with Blitz. But let's fix the problem here. So it's the create wishlist mutation. And here we can see the mutation is kept in a separate file. If we look on the left, it is under wishlist. There's components, mutations, queries. So this is a mutation because we're actually updating the database. This is like a database level mutation. I think it would be great if you ask us some questions on your code too. Helps us learn more. That would be great. Unfortunately, my main purpose right now is building a tool that my mom asked me for. Teaching people is secondary to me right now. But if we were to work together, I would absolutely be asking you lots of questions. What's your GitHub? It's my last name, Vandevere. Just GitHub/Vandevere. Here, I'll bring it up. You should be able to see that on screen. GitHub.com/Vandevere is my main GitHub profile. And then we're currently working on the Welephant application. Always listen to mom and dad, that's right. Am I the backend and UI king of New York? I don't know. By the way, if you're on TikTok, you can see YouTube or Twitch and you'll see the full screen. What coding bootcamp do you recommend? So check this out. Go to coursereport.com. Browse all schools. Sort by most reviewed, not highest rated, most reviewed. And you want to find a school with a minimum of 400 reviews. Lowagon is the best in the world. It's not offered in the United States, last I checked though. But if you're from out of the United States, maybe you're from France or Brazil, so definitely check if Lowagon supports you. They got South Africa now, that's great. The one that I recommend is Career Foundry. I currently recommend that. That recommendation has changed over time. The reason I currently recommend Career Foundry, they meet the minimum criteria of a prestigious bootcamp. They have a high rating, many reviews. More importantly, in the United States, I recommend them. They are currently the only in the top 10, to my knowledge, that has a job placement guarantee. That's extremely critical. You want the job placement guarantee makes the investment so much better. By the way, if you work with me and if I personalize your curriculum, I also offer a job placement guarantee. Good question. Excellent question. Okay, so here we are. We're trying to update this. So here's the query. So we have the context in the session. Here's the input data, input. I can hover my mouse. The input is an any. We don't like that. So create wishlist input. It only has a name, right? But the database wants more. The database wants the wisher, what is it called? Wisher ID? Let's double check. User ID wisher, okay? So we will need to add that manually. So user ID wisher, and this is going to be the one that's on the session. So I want to get the user. So here's the session user ID. Cool, and there it is. Declared, but its value is never read. So wishlist is create wishlist. We'll create something, so this is called input. This is an object. Try to figure out if this is an object or not. Let's log it. I think it's an object. So we're going to console.log. We're going to do input, comma, user ID wisher. I'm going to naively code this, assuming it's an object. We'll verify that. But here I'm going to do name is input.name. And then I'm going to add user ID wisher. Okay, so I'm naively coding that solution and it's complaining, it's saying, hey, number or null is not assignable to number or undefined. I could handle this in several different ways. The way I'm going to handle this is I'm just going to is not assignable to name any number undefined is not assignable to user ID wisher name any number or undefined is not assignable to type undefined. Oh, so it thinks the user ID wisher type is undefined. We can see that here. This looks like a type problem. So I'm going to copy this, undo my changes. I'm going to paste it, comment out what I pasted. I'm going to stop the server, and I'm going to regenerate my Blitz types. So this will be Blitz, Prisma, generate. So it says it generated a new Prisma client. And what I want to do now, I might need to close VS Code and open it again. Let's see. So here's the wish list. Okay, so these types do exist. This is a type file, and we can see it's defined. Let me try closing VS Code and opening it again. Sometimes there's like a memory caching problem. Are there any free online app to learn for beginners? Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp. Check it out. Where'd you learn to code? Originally from Codecademy. You're a clever guy. Would love to know of any way to download the original Age of Empires on Mac safely. I don't know. I would start with Google. What software are you using, please? I'm using VS Code for my IDE. Do you prefer VS Code over Visual Studio, and why? Yes, absolutely. For the efficacy of types, the developer experience. I like the way it looks more. Auto completion works better. And then the extension library would be the other big one. Okay. So let's comment this and then uncomment. And it's still complaining. It's complaining that number or undefined is not assignable to type undefined. Let's do this differently. So now this is number or undefined. All right, so the other way we can do this, I said there were a couple ways to handle it. The easier one is just to do an OR operation, but it seems to not satisfy the types. The other thing we can do is just throw if it's not a number. So we can guarantee the type system that this is going to be a number. So that made it happy. So we're going to manually throw if it's not a number. So if user ID is null, and let's double check. Null is always tricky, isn't it? Let's double check. Does null triple equal null? I think the answer is yes, right? So null can triple equal null. Can I know what you are coding? Yes, absolutely. It is a wish list application that lets you create wish lists of like, there's like your Amazon wish list, but this wish list is across apps. So you can have Amazon things from Target and Walmart and Bed Bath & Beyond, things that are offline. Put that all on a single wish list, and then you can share that with people so that they can get you gifts and you can get them gifts. Cool. So if it is null, then we want to throw new error. The error will be user ID of wisher, or like, so this would be like logged in user not found. Logged in user not found cannot create wish lists. Okay. Let me see if I can unenforce number, and the system auto detects that it's guaranteed to be a number now. You see that? So on line 13, it could be a number or null. We manually handle the null case, and now the type system has deduced correctly that it's guaranteed to be a number now. Well, throwing errors is the secondary way to handle that. It's I think it's probably more correct because we should never actually have a null user ID wisher. So then I can use the syntax shorthand like that. All right, great. We've done all these repairs. Let's come over here. I'm going to Control A, Control X, F5 to refresh the page. Oh, my server's not running, is it? Okay, so let me blitz dev. Hey, John. Hello, guys. JavaScript, it's TypeScript, so very similar, right? Doesn't it just look like JavaScript? So all valid JavaScript is valid TypeScript, but we have much better type support. Thank you for the follows. Bro, I know nothing about coding and I'm really interested. How can you help me get there, please? Check the link in my bio. Latterly is, you can book a call with me through Latterly. Create wishlist input.spa input. Yeah, basically. It's not a single page application, but yeah, that's basically right. Okay, refresh the page now that the server's running. Oh no, it didn't work. Maybe we need to log in again. Let's go see. All right, so we are currently logged in. All right, let's manually visit the wish lists. Eventually you would build in like a menu, right? But I don't have that right now. So wish lists cannot be found. Why is that? Wish lists cannot be found. Pretty sure I had a wish list page, didn't I? Thought we were just there earlier. So I'll look at my pages. Pages. Wish list ID, wish lists index. So there's a wish lists index. So what's the deal? Let's look. Let's right click, empty hard cache, reload. Still cannot be found. We can see wish lists is specifically 404ing. Am I misspelling something? Oh, here's the projects folder. I don't want projects to exist. Bye. Maybe I'll go to wishlist items and see wishlist. Does this show up? So this is not showing up either. Let me close this. Something kind of goofy is going on. I'll open a whole new localhost. You're running outdated Blitz packages. Oh, I'm in the wrong terminal. That's what was going on. You see the Kahneman folder there? So when I closed VS Code and opened it again, it took me to a different folder. So I'm going to CD over to the Welephant folder. Now I will blitz dev. Check for routing. Yeah, so this is Next.js, so the routing is automatically handled by the page's folder structure. So I basically was checking for routing. Tell them how TypeScript devs hate to going back to just JavaScript. It's true. Is TypeScript going to take over JavaScript? I think there's always going to be JavaScript because it's a really good entry point. But once you go over to TypeScript, it's just really hard to look back. I mean, I still use JavaScript for my coding interviews because writing out the types is too difficult. But if I'm spending longer than like a week or two on a project, I'm gonna write the types. It saves you so many bugs, so many times, and so much time in bugs. Okay, so now I'm logged in, and now I'm going to manually go to wish lists. And the page exists now. What language would you recommend to start coding? JavaScript. And specifically try to learn React. Okay, so we Control V, John's list, create wish list. And it works this time. You see the user wish ID is one, which you wouldn't know this, but it's like only one user exists in the database at this time because I only created one user, so the user ID is one. So that is the logged in user. So this worked correctly. And we can see the console.log that I did, input user ID. Here's the input. So my naive guess was correct, basically. There's the name. Oh, where's my log statement? I'm not seeing it. I see result. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's still result. I don't know. I don't know where this log is showing up. Yeah, there it is. So this is it. Name, John's list, and then there's the user ID of 1. So we can get rid of that log. And we will commit this, let's see. I guess we'll commit this as a fix. So this will be fix create wishlist. I'll stop the server and push this, git commit, push m, fix create wishlist. Git push no verify. And that's going to do it for today's stream. Please follow because I'm about to close the stream. So if you want to stay in touch, be sure to follow real quick. That's all we're doing for now. But keep an eye on this repository again. That's Welephant. You can follow me on GitHub, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, all the places. My TikTok bio has all of my socials listed out. The code looks beautiful, must be React. It is. It's a framework called Blitz, which uses React. So this is Blitz.js. Thank you for all the follows, over 7,000 likes. React is a JavaScript framework. Learning React will be easier if you have good of JS. Yeah, it's a rendering. So React is a rendering library, not a framework. Blitz is a proper framework. Next is a framework, and Blitz builds on top of Next. But it's still absolutely true. You'll want to learn JavaScript vanilla before React. I'll leave the stream open another 30 seconds while people follow. I see lots of follows rolling in. I don't want to close it before you're able to follow, but thanks for being here, and just keep an eye